Good evening, everyone. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order for Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. Thank you very much. Calling the meeting to order at 6:03 p.m. And in honor of the Dodgers going to the World Series, I would like to have Miss Dee Dee Serbel lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance since she is wearing a Dodger jersey.
Right hand over your heart, please. Ready, begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, go Dodgers, and let's get this meeting going. Thank you very much. Wendy, would you please take roll call?
Yes. Ms. Legaspi? Present. Mr. Martinez?
Present.
Dr. Goldman?
Present.
Mr. Van Lotos?
Present.
He is absent.
Great, thank you. We have nothing to report on closed session items. That would be item 3.3 on our agenda. Is there a motion to approve our agenda for tonight's meeting?
Motion to approve. You have a second?
Second. A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Wendy, do we have any comments from the public on items on the agenda tonight?
I have no comments.
Great, thank you. We have two presentations for tonight. Item 6.1 in our agenda is a special presentation from King Consulting on the CalShape and School Facilities Program. Would you like to cue that up for us here, Blake and Jim?
You're on. I'm adding April. Give me a second. She's
Yeah, so we have April Thompson, Director of State Funding from King Consulting, presenting the status of our state funding applications. So our matching funds for existing bond projects. So she will just give a brief presentation about kind of what's in the pipeline, historical funding, our second round of modernization eligibility, still her thunder. And then just a brief update on like our CalShape program, the California Energy Commission anticipation of our final release of funds for which is on a reimbursement basis.
and April is off mute now, so if she wants to introduce herself, and then she can share her screen.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Her screen on here. There you go.
There she is.
Okay, thank you so much. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for allowing me to join remotely this evening. It's always a pleasure to present to you and your board. I have, like Blake mentioned, I have a brief presentation. Let me share my screen. Did steal my thunder a little bit, but that's okay. I just want to go through sort of where we've been, where we are now, and then what we see ahead of you as far as your state funding opportunities. So first, we have submitted 4 modernization funding applications, and this will exhaust your current modernization eligibility. These applications were submitted last year, and they were submitted under the regulations for Proposition 51, but they will be funded by the proceeds of the bonds sold under Proposition 2. So that means that you're sort of grandfathered in some of the older regulations, and you don't have all of the same requirements that came in with some of the new regs under Proposition 2. So that's good. The State School Facility Program has been around since 1998, and so it's important to note it's continually funded through statewide school bonds, as well as through sometimes an influx from the general fund. And so every couple of years, there's a new bond, there's a new proposition on the ballot for California voters. So that's how we sort of, determine what regulations you were submitted under and then how you're going to be funded. So all of these applications totaling almost $5 million are currently on the workload, and they are within bonding authority for Proposition 2. And the projects that were submitted for these, they were all your solar projects for each of these 4 school sites.
April, this is Roger. I'm not familiar with the term, if you could go back to the prior screen, the
Yes.
on working. Does that mean that
Yes.
these applications are approved, just not, just waiting the funding appropriation? I'm not familiar with the
Yes.
on workload status.
So the Office of Public School Construction, they have a couple of different lists that they put applications on based on the date received. If you're on the workload, that means that you are within bond authority. As I mentioned, this program has been around for a long time. There's always a new influx of funding. So these applications were originally submitted in 2024, and at that time they were on the applications received beyond bond authority list because they were submitted in between funding sources. So then once Proposition 2 was passed, these applications then moved onto the workload list. And modernization applications submitted now would be on the applications received beyond bond authority list because the modernization dollars under Proposition 2 were nearly exhausted just from the applications that were already in line. You're able to continue submitting even if there isn't a current bond with authority. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you.
April, this is Neil. I have another question, just for everybody's edification. These monies are matching funds. We had to put out the dollars to qualify to get the dollars matched. When we do receive the funds, assuming we receive them, can you talk to us about the limitations of the usage of these funds? These are not unrestricted, full discretion dollars when we get them. Could you talk to that, please?
Yes, that's correct. These will essentially be reimbursements for money that you've already spent on your solar projects. When you receive this money, it goes into your Fund 35, which is then restricted. You have to spend this on other capital facility projects. So it can't be transferred into your general fund or any fund other than something that would go towards capital facility projects.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The district has participated in the school facility program for a number of years, receiving well over $60 million in state funding throughout different programs, whether it was the charter school facility program, the career tech education, new construction, and modernization. I want to draw you towards your modernization applications at those 4 sites. These applications were submitted back in 2003 and 2007. The way the modernization program works is that anytime your portable facilities reach 20 years old or your permanent facilities reach 25 years old, they start generating modernization eligibility. So way back towards the beginning of the program in 2003 and 2007, Weisburn Unified was able to submit applications to receive about $6 million in state modernization funds. Well, here we are almost 25 years later. So those pupil grants that you took in these applications are being returned to what's called your eligibility baseline for modernization. And you're going to be able to then request those pupil grants again in future applications. And that's where your second round modernization eligibility comes from. So it's money that you already took when your facilities were of age, and now they're about to turn over again. So this eligibility is date specific. It's based on 25 years after you took those pupil grants previously. So in 2029, you'll have close to $4 million or over $4 million in modernization eligibility at Aviation and Del Air that you'll be able to apply for. And then in 2032, you will have another over $7.5 million at Weisburn Middle and Holly Glen Elementary. Now, it's important to remember too, the modernization program is reimbursable. So what we're doing is we're tracking your bond projects that you have either in design now or some that you have in construction. And these are some of the projects that are included in your bond. And these are all projects that are eligible for that second round modernization. So working really closely with your facilities team to make sure that we are able to queue these projects up for that second round modernization that's going to come back to you in the next few years. Do you have any questions on the school facility program?
We would just like for you to keep presenting big numbers like that to us. Those are really attractive.
I love
we-
it. These are my favorite presentations to give.
Actually, we
It's
actually
actually-
did have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
The question was typically to qualify for these funds, they have to be matching funds. This pupil grant eligibility in 2029, I think I just heard you say, we're going to be qualifying for that based on our third or fourth tranche of the current bond funds. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep, we will take your, we'll, as you construct your projects and as you're in design, like I said, we're working closely with your facilities team so that we can capture reimbursement monies for these projects that you're doing in your bond that are eligible. So, yes.
Beautiful.
April,
Okay. Yes.
quick question. Is there a reason that the 201, the Wiseburn High School facility is not on here?
The Wiseburn High School facility, that eligibility was exhausted with that very large charter school facility application that was funded, I believe in 2018, 2016. So all of that eligibility was exhausted, and I could put it on here, but it would be so far out, it would be sad. So I
That's the
don't.
$52 million.
Yes.
What would that year be? 35?
I think it's farther than that. It would be, you know, if you decided to do, to apply for a charter school facility program again, it would be 15 years after that apportionment date, which, like I said, I think it was 2016. If you want to apply for
2040.
yes, if you want to
Okay.
apply for SFP modernization funding, then it would be 25 years past that date. Of course, that is, as far as the charter school funding, that is subject to another charter school funding round. That is funded, that program has specified rounds with a much smaller dollar amount. But when those facilities are of age again, like I said, 15 years after that last apportionment, we can definitely, I mean, we plan on being in Wiseburn for a very long time. So we will let you know when that eligibility is coming up and then evaluate, you know, what your opportunities are at that time.
We'll chat then.
Yes. I'll be back. Maybe I'll be down in person. Okay, so the California Energy Commission, this is your CalShape program. You were approved for almost $500,000 in assessment and maintenance grants at these 4 school sites. And the initial fund release was almost $250,000. You received that. SiteLogic has done all of the required assessments, and they have been submitted to the California Energy Commission. Upon submission, the district received another $124,274. So far, the district has received over $372,000 under this program. And the work is substantially complete at this time. All that's left is the reconciliation process, and SiteLogic is going through that. I checked in with them earlier today, and they are completing a few last minute things for the CEC. The CEC is currently reviewing your assessment reports, and once those are fully accepted and the reconciliation is complete, then you will receive that final fund release of $124,000 up to your costs incurred. So that is, that program is sailing along and is almost complete. So that is the end of my brief presentation. Did you have any other questions?
April, quick comment more than anything. Is there a way, I know we've asked in the past about a dashboard or some sort of tracking
Oh, yes.
of expenditure. Do you have that accessible, or is that something you can bring back at a future date?
We do have your dashboard. Is there something specific you want to see, or we can share it with you and you can review it at your leisure?
I think it's just the dashboard, yeah. I don't think.
Just to review, it would be great. That we we know you do such wonderful things for us and some of the other districts. We forget what's in the pipeline. And that dashboard would enable us to see that. So if we could see that on a quarterly basis, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. And actually, these screenshots that I have in the presentation are directly from the dashboard. So that's what it looks like. This is your CEC tab on your dashboard. This is part of your second round modernization eligibility. So these are screen grabs directly from your dashboard. I don't always tend to bring up the dashboard itself in presentations because those kinds of web links are unreliable. So I just take the screenshots and then we sort of review that way. But we can absolutely at a future meeting come back and just go, page by page through it.
Thank you, April,
Okay.
for the presentation. Just one quick question, and I think it's not a question for you, April. In terms of the solar power array projects and also the HVAC assessments and some of the work that we did to improve the existing HVAC equipment, I guess it would be more of maybe a question for Sean, is do we have any report that indicates the payback for the projects that we've invested in terms of now the utility?
Are we seeing an offset?
Right. Are we seeing an offset? So, and I don't expect an answer today, but I would like to see something like that, and maybe as part of the dashboard presentation or something in the
Yeah,
future.
we'll definitely have to dive deeper into our actual individual electricity bills by school site and just take a further review and just see what kind of metrics we can generate from those and see if there is any sort of actual report that we can
Okay.
SEC, or if there's something that we can contract with to kind of collectively pull that data and do
Okay.
analysis.
Yeah, it would be great to see that offset. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, April, for your presentation and report. Really appreciate it when you join us at our board meeting with such great news. Please keep up the good work. We like news like that. So thank you. Have a
We will.
nice
Thank you
evening.
so much. We appreciate the opportunity to work with you and your team. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, April. Be well.
Thank you, April. Okay, our next special presentation, we are going to bring up Miss Maggie Mayberry, and she is going to be talking about priority updates 1, 2, and 3 for student achievement results.
Okay. Big button. Let's see
Let's see if the chart's right.
if it actually works. Good evening, Weismer Board of Education. We're here to discuss today basically our CASP results and where we align with our LCAP, our priorities, and then in our current new benchmark of iReady. So we're going to be presenting a whole lot of summative data from the end of last school year, how it aligns with our priorities and what we're doing currently in our classrooms today to ensure that all our kids are achieving at the highest levels. So our focus tonight is going to be on our first 3 priorities in English language arts, mathematics, and in science instruction. Our objectives, we're going to look at these results. We're going to dive deep, look at the different perspectives, connect it to our LCAP, as well as then dive deeper into the context of our similar districts as a fair comparison of where we're at. So just as a quick review, we're looking at our CASP results, which is really the kind of summative assessment that's provided by the state of California to all of our learners in 3rd grades through 11th grade in our state. So it's that big black dot that we achieve. Our teachers do come in summative assessments all the times in the different standards that they're covering. We're formative assessing our students every single day. That we're not looking and nickel and diming over that data. But what we are looking at is, our TCTs, our PLCs are looking weekly, like at the data that we're getting from our students. And then now a big difference is in that benchmark assessment, moving away from STAR now to a triennial assessment of iReady. And we're going to dive into our initial results of our first diagnostic that we gave. So we're 1 out of our 3 assessments that we'll give with iReady this school year. And we're constantly in this cycle. So our teachers use this daily in the different lessons that they're doing and the feedback that they're receiving. Our PLCs are doing it over the units and standards that they're covering. And then as a district, we're looking at the whole and really looking at those big summative assessments to drive our next steps in our LCAP and goals and priorities. So we had a little sneak peek with Holly Glenn's initial iReady data, but now we're going to actually look at the district lens. And so aviation and our other schools will be sharing their actual micro view of their school sites and where they're performing. But, you know, one of the big differences between iReady and ELA and math is this is a very adaptive test. So no student is actually taking the same assessment. It really is depending on how they did on that first question, which is going to then drive the next question, which is going to drive the next question. Very similar to what the CASP is doing, you know, with them at the end of the school year. This is dialing very heavily down deep into data. We're not just learning what kind of reader we are, we're learning where are our gaps in our reading or where are our successes in our reading and in our mathematics standards. So it's going to look and give us a little bit more detail. And it's going to be measuring us on, we're going to label them our tiers of intervention. So our tiers 1, 2, and 3. So this is something that all of our 1st through 8th graders did our first diagnostic within we started the 2nd week of school. So you're going to see our tiers of intervention being laid here. So this is our English language arts snapshot of our beginning of the year diagnostic. We did achieve our priority of having we had actually 97.8% completion in this. Every student has taken it. They might have just either entered school late or they hadn't finished it at the time of it, but we did achieve that. You're going to see our green being our tier 1 students. So they're the ones that assessed in these particular domains at grade level or slightly above grade level or even above grade level. Our tier 2, which is the yellow color, that's our students that are 1 grade level below. But we're actually, like many of us in this room, are not freaking out about the yellow students. Like we want to call them the yellow students quite yet, because they were 1 day into they're 1 day outside of kindergarten. They're in their 2nd week of 1st grade. They haven't even been introduced to the 1st grade standards yet. So we know that there's going to be a big shift in that middle of year diagnostic, just based on the amazing teaching that we're doing in our classrooms. And then what this program does is really personalize down for what that student needs as well. So with that support. So we have our overall ELA score with 40% of all of our students that are at or above grade level in overall English language arts. 33 at tier 2. And then 27% of our students that are 2 or more grade levels behind. And then we can go even deeper. That's just in English language arts, but you're going to see where our stars are and where our gaps might be. So high frequency words, that's awesome. Like as a district, like we're at 83% that are mid or above grade level currently. Those are those foundational skills that every reader needs. Our phonemic awareness and our phonics relevant placements are very, very high. So our foundational skills are great. You know, with the onboarding of our new Getting Reading Right program, the structures that we're using within our classrooms are really, really showing and shining high, you know, in those scores. And then we get even deeper into the types of comprehension. I clicked. I did give it a second. I'm so impatient, you guys. Like, I clicked. And then math overall. Being as a district, we have our students at 27% at or above grade level walking in. And then our tier 2 at 47%. Again, we're not if that number is 47 at the mid-year, we're going to be having very different conversations than PLC, but this is nothing that's throwing up the alarms now. What we are talking about is what are we doing to ensure that our students do get out of tier 2? And, you know, one of our metrics was moving that needle. But overall, we can see where we lie. Our numbers and operations, algebra and algebraic thinking, just like our CASP measurement and data in geometry. One thing we did realize is that geometry isn't just a Weisburn issue. Statewide, it's an issue. It seems to tend weaker in. Does anyone think they know why?
Why geometry?
Yeah, why geometry is a little bit lower than the rest of the domains of mathematics. You know, I know you know. Tell us.
I mean, my only guess was where it's placed in the curriculum is always at the end of the year. And then that's what gets shorted when we're racing to get prepared for XYZ. At the end of the year.
Right. And so we see that and sometimes maybe not even gotten to. And so that is something that we're working on during our TCT times is how to embed geometry into our other standards and work alongside our other essentials. We tend to also not focus on it as one of our essentials. And so how can we bring that back? Now, one thing I am going to share with you as well is our English language learners development in the LPAC assessment. So this is a summative assessment that all our English learners take. Last year, we had 159 English learners. Currently, we have 125. That's a significant drop. One was we had a huge reclassification rate. It was well over 32% of our students reclassified, and they're like now considered bilingual by the state of California. But you can see that 31% of our students that took that summative LPAC actually qualified for this from the state to reclassify. And that is significantly above where other Californian English learners are laying. And then within the LPAC assessment,
Sorry. As soon as I look away.
get off your phone. Are the 4 domains. So there's 2 big domains of oral language and written language. And you can see our students are doing very well in oral language. But the continued struggle is written. And we can see that in both our reading and writing scores. And we're performing very, very well in listening and speaking. And so this is a conversation that we've had with the onboarding of the program Elevation that the teachers haven't seen that view yet, but it's something that is organizing the data. And surprise, we're going to be doing some work in the next year over as a district with going down and how can we as a district work on reading strategies for our English learners. And so one part of the Elevation programs are strategies. And so they have videos and mini lessons for every content area in every grade on how to use academic vocabulary. And so they have a lesson that'll called hashtags. And it's just a way to open a lesson that really does help our English learners. And it doesn't just help them. And so it helps all of our learners. It's just really good lesson planning. And so we're creating a scope and sequence of introducing these and having have 4 focus areas to help excel in that reading and writing, which we hope we won't see just in our LPAC results, but we'll continue to see that growth in our ELA results. And then the granddaddy of them all, CASP. So each and every year we do this assessment. It really does provide our families with where their children are at in their learning process, not just our report cards, but how do you compare amongst the peers in California? It provides our teachers with how they are comparing with their neighbors, with everyone else in the state, getting them ready for college and career readiness. We use this information to help drive our dashboard. And then we're going to dive deep into the 3 assessments that our students take. We did not have any 11th graders last year. Sometimes we'll have an 11th grader at the SLC that will be a part of our CASP. This year we didn't. So our focus is going to be on 3rd through 8th grade, with the science assessment only taking place in both 5th and 8th grade. So just like us, we're redesigning our proficiency levels. Like some members of the design team, we went through and renamed. We actually named our levels today as at our design team, but we're not going to tell you about that yet. That's coming. It's coming. The state of California has actually gone through this process. So in our 25-26 results, we had things that said in the past, not standard, not met, nearly met. And we're like, what does it mean to nearly meet something? But we're getting a little bit closer. The state is getting closer at defining what those are for us. I always called it what was the shady 2? What was 2? What did that mean? Because some of them were considered proficient. Some of them weren't proficient. What was the level? What score were you using? And I mean, even at my level, I didn't understand that. And so they're hoping with the change of the vocabulary, it will help clarify for our parents what those look like. And some of these words are going to be very similar to the wording that we're going to be using as well. So to be considered proficient, we are still adding our 3s and our 4 students together. Next year, some of the 2s will be added in as well. But we won't talk about that till a year from now. So our ELA. District-wide, we are at 63% proficient, well above what the state of California is at, and we grew a percent point. And then in mathematics, well above the state at 49%, but a little bit of a slip from last school year. And we're going to dive deep into seeing why this occurred. And then in science, a little bit of a dip from the previous year,
It's also,
but well above the state.
it's hard not to notice the pre-COVID numbers.
Right, it really is. And it's a conversation, we're not the only ones facing that. We're all struggling with that. I mean, conversations that our teachers are having is like lack of student engagement, like how do we get, like, it's almost like we have a different set of students that are coming in that we didn't really know about, or we're not really, so we're working on how to address those needs. But like anything, it takes time. And so you could see the green are improvements that have happened from previous years. And so in reading at the middle school, a little bit of a jump. And then aviation and Del Air staying pretty steady at where they were at the previous school year. And then in mathematics, I mean, Del Air, holy moly, that's amazing. In 2 years, from being 42% proficient to 57. I mean, that is awesome. Like that's what we hope to see at our middle school. And our middle school was one of the reasons of the shift downwards. And so we're looking at that currently. And one thing that the middle school is focusing on is the adoption of a new curriculum. So Sean and I have been working together on the funding for that, but we are going to be moving forward with a middle school textbook adoption for this school year, to end at this school year, to go into effect next year, to hopefully begin closing that gap.
So, Meg, are you referring to math in the middle school?
Yes.
Can we explain one and the other? I mean, the trajectories are completely opposite.
So explain one, can you rephrase?
You celebrated what's happening in Del Air, as we should.
Yeah,
And then pointed the middle school was unfortunately in the other direction.
it was in the other direction.
Is there learning from this that we understand so we know what to do about it?
Absolutely. I mean, one big shift that happened in 2023 was the onboarding of a math coach. And so that math coach is now working over at the middle school. We also went through the process of adopting newer materials. And so we're beginning that process right now at the middle school, hoping that that will help align and up, the rigor that's occurring in the classrooms and to align what's happening across the classrooms and content. I mean, we've even talked about restructuring the classes. We've been pretty tight on the amount of students that take algebra in 8th grade. Should we open that door a little bit more? Are we too closed off to who those students are? So we are beginning those conversations at the middle school level to help to ensure that growth.
This is iReady data. No, this is CASP.
No, this is CASP
Do they
data.
give us any kind of number that says this is statistically significant?
They-
They may not.
They don't give that to us, yeah.
So if I'm interpreting this right, Ms. Compton has been working at the K through 8 level, not at the, I'm sorry, K through 5 level, not at the 6th grade.
She was focusing on the elementary level and has now begun to push in at the middle
I
school
mean, just
level.
from a very high level view, it looks
Yeah.
like the investment made in the coach at that level
Mhm.
absolutely paid off.
Right.
And there's an opportunity to raise the bar at the middle school with a similar philosophy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go, Ms. Compton.
Yeah. And then the CAST scores really quick. With science scores at the elementary level, taking a little bit of a dip and then going up at the middle school. So if you want to go back one more, Jim, excuse me. Just so you could see that big one, next screen.
That one.
No, forward. Man, this thing gotta work. One more. I wasn't able to speak to that. Yeah, the science scores, the green, the growth at the middle school was significant from last year. But we don't have cohort data for these kiddos because, 5th to 8th grade, like we were just talking too. These are, being a former secondary science teacher, that assessment's pretty darn hard because they're going to cover standards that were in 3rd grade. And I don't know about you. I don't even know what I ate for breakfast this morning, let alone, does a 10-year-old remember what the genetics unit they learned in 3rd grade? So I know just working at aviation to say like, that's something that those 5th grade teachers are talking about is like developing. How do we ensure that as we move and are being held accountable to this assessment? And then our trends by grade, this is just our cohort data and growth. You can see that 6th to 7th grade, that's a significant jump, in ELA data. And then as well from 7th grade to 8th grade, a 1% jump. And then in mathematics as well. And then, of course, our subgroups. And so when we look at the dashboard, this is what is going to be used to measure our subgroup data within the dashboard. Here are our various subgroups. And the ones that really stand out to me is like in English language arts or students with disabilities. That's a huge positive shift, 3%. For students that we know statistically are 2 or more grade levels behind are still improving at grade level. Like that's awesome. And you see that in science as well with the subgroup.
Still significant gap, achievement gap between a lot of these groups.
Amongst the subgroups. Right. And remember, like 6 years ago, we didn't even talk about the subgroups. We talked as everyone as a whole. And so it is, important conversations amongst our PLCs of how we approach students because we know they learn differently. And so how do we do that? And our teachers are constantly looking at that information to drive their decision making. And then just a different point of view of that is amongst our subgroups, the reds were being decreases from last school year to our greens being our pushes up. Yeah, or the percentage of where they went. So like our Asian students fell 2% in ELA, but went up 5% in mathematics. Hence the green because they went up. Yeah. So just a little bit different of a perspective to look at infographic.
One caution here, guys, that some of these numbers are so tiny. Statistically, these are probably not terribly meaningful. So I'd be hesitant to put too much into this.
Right.
When you're talking 1 or 2 students or 5 students.
Right. I mean, even
Not that I'd want to just
No,
report it, but.
I agree. But
don't- yeah.
even a percent point in mathematics isn't causing us to shift. Statistically, it's like 2 questions on the assessment, per student. Like that's nothing that's like, oh my gosh, we don't know any, I mean, if we're seeing a huge decrease and it continues over time, we need to really rethink what we're doing. And we are. Our teachers are we're constantly looking at that data to drive what we're doing. And then I always want to highlight the great things that did happen with this data. And so overall, our improvement in ELA, the middle school in ELA and in science, there was a big shift in science, Del Air in mathematics. And just with our subgroup data, 3rd and 6th grades, white students, Latino students, and students with disabilities in reading. 3rd and 5th grades, our Asian students and students of 2 or more races in mathematics. And then our 8th grade students in science and our students of 2 or more races and our students with disabilities in science. So we do have many bright spots amongst the data. And like last year, just what is the true comparison? I mean, we're killing it, like amongst the state of California. We're well outscoring our average peer in the state, but who are our, are our neighboring districts the ones that we need to look at? But this school year, here are the list of 17 similar districts that have a similar population. And so you'll see we're the only Los Angeles County school. One of our closest ones being Alpine Union Elementary. And then Huntington Beach City Schools in Orange County. And that is, I want to call them. I want to call Orange County and see like, they have similar demographics. They have similar students. Like, what are you doing in math? Like that, I think that would be a great conversation. I know something our students are interested in. Can we do a site visit? Can we have some teacher teams go see the shifts that they've made in instruction and we can piggyback and learn from their practices. Yeah. 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 That's far. Can we just jump on the 405? But you can see in ELA amongst the 17, we're at 6 and in mathematics 9.
Maggie, those school districts that you list up there, those are with similar economics and demographics, like student body as well, as
Yeah.
close to our Wiseburg community?
Exactly. So it goes on student population. So it's a district that's close to us with 1,000 to 5,000 students. And then most importantly, our unduplicated students. It has a similar statistic for the unduplicated kiddos, because that's really what's being factored into the dashboard as well. You know, we look at those students in a little bit different of a lens, like our English language learners, our students with disabilities. So those statistics match.
Okay.
And then what do these mean for us? Well, obviously, as I just said, we are outperforming students in the state of California. The middle school is growing in English language arts, but is, you know, taking a little bit of a downturn in mathematics, in which we're all working together as a team to solve. And then really, you know, the work that we're doing as a design team and on assessments, like how do our assessments in our classrooms align with these results? How do we align them to ensure that our students are achieving at high levels? The work that all of our elementary teachers have gone through, you know, with getting reading, write, and structured literacy, looking at our actual standards to ensure that those foundational skills that we saw in iReady continue to grow and be very, very solid, so that when they are assessed in third, fourth, and fifth grade at into the comprehension standards, we have a very good base of foundation for that. And then the continuing to use iReady, the onboarding of iReady, that really does provide a pathway that's just for you, that you can continue to work on the skills that you need, you know, while our teachers can continue to work in small groups on what that group of students needs. And then although there's slight decreases in math and science, ELA increased for the district, but there are many bright spots that we've celebrated throughout this presentation. And then lastly, always going back to the LCAP, how do these all connect to the LCAP? And we were talking about Ms. Compton, but, you know, the tiered intervention systems that we have, you know, with our reading specialists at each of our elementary schools, the work that our teachers are doing during their TCT time. I mean, as far as, you know, being able to have PE release time, to have that structured time at the elementary level, and then that also happening at the middle school as well. Our new iReady program, the math personnel of Ms. Compton having a coach, the PD that our teachers went through this summer, and just the work that we're doing within the PLCs to align all of our standards at the CAPS network. And then working on our design with our design team. So those consultant fees really relate to everything that was within this presentation. It's kind of nice to show, here's the bow that ties all of those together to show where we're at. That's it.
Any questions?
Yeah, questions?
No, I mean, I think that it very well encapsulated. Thank you for presenting in a few
Of course.
different ways.
Mhm.
Example of differentiated teaching there.
Yeah.
But no, thank you. I think that I think it's important to always, you know, mention the bright spots and
Right.
look and view this as the guidepost to it.
Right.
I'd like a little more clarity for everybody else to the difference between iReady, benchmarks, and CASP and what that
Mhm.
looks, because I think that there's still a little bit of it's not quite apples to apples at this point in time of year.
Right,
correct, right?
Right.
And so it's important to understand that difference between the assessment that we're taking for iReady at the beginning of the
Mhm.
year versus what it is. Now, the last one that we take at the end of the year
Mhm.
could be more comparable,
Mhm.
but I think that's an important differentiation that we need to make, especially as we're looking at the two different scores.
Right. And when I come back to present on the dashboard, we're going to be showing our mid-year diagnostics. So we're already going to see the growth between the two. I mean, this is the first time we've ever taken this. So we'll see that that initial growth in just the first year. And then we'll be able to continue to see that. Like our teachers, when they're in fourth grade, can see back to first grade how students grew in those areas. So thank you.
Very excited. The evolution of practice from PLC to practices
Yeah.
to formative assessments to iReady integration to now, I would expect, I think over the past years, we've been doing some good things. No, but
Of
this,
course.
I feel like we've evolved to a higher level now, is my understanding.
Right.
And I'm candidly hoping that translates to a jump in scores because we have this practice along the way and
Right.
information, the data along the way to get us there.
Right.
And so very excited about the process.
Yeah.
A question from last meeting was something like an 80% target. I don't remember which school, forgive me, for the iReady data.
Right.
I didn't see a goal on any of this, so I don't know if that ties into this.
Well, our goals will be within the LCAP. But our goal with iReady was to move from the tiers that at the mid and the end of year is that we move 10%, you know, from the tier 2 students, that the tier 2, 10% of the tier 2 kids are going to jump up to tier 1, 10% of the tier 3 are going to jump up to tier 2. So we hope at each of those diagnostics, we see that growth.
Thank you, Roger. First of all, Maggie, well done, presentation. You answered a few of the questions I had with regards to presentations, so I think well done, well presented. The one question that I had with regards to a slide there that you mentioned, structured literacy and the transition of iReady, where are we today in terms of training the teachers?
So almost all except for 8, we have 8 teachers who were not able to come this summer. And so they're finishing off that structured literacy professional development. So we're gonna be very close. I think it's like as of December 7th, everyone TK through 5 has been fully trained. We're working with the middle school. There is a program that we're looking at potentially this summer or next fall to have the middle school also participate in a similar type program. Because we do get students in 6th grade that don't have some of the foundational skills that they need in order to be able to read. And so how do our teachers know how to do that? Like, we weren't trained in teacher college how to do that. So can we provide those opportunities for our teachers is something that we're looking at. But right now, you know, with some of the mandates that are coming down from the CDE is what we're trying to do and what's going under state adoption are the actual materials. And so the new sets of materials that we're going to get the blessings from the CDE on are going to have more structured literacy components in them. And so when that list is ready, we will probably go under an adoption so that our teachers would have more tools to be able to get to those. Because right now they're using ones that are, you know, on iReady, some that they've designed and some that are from the Getting Reading Right program that we did, but that would streamline what we're doing.
Okay. So we have it deployed at 6 through 8.
Right.
Yeah.
No, not
planned.
right. It's being planned. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. One of the challenges with whether it's science or math or English language, right, is taking like what position or what placement the students are when they either come to us or as they're transitioning from grade level to grade level, right?
Right.
I'm actually very encouraged and focus a little bit on the math portion,
Yeah.
on our elementaries and the growth, because there's a lot of very positive results here.
Right.
And I think a big part of that is the attention and the investments and the collaboration that we've been doing here at
Right.
Wiseman with our entire team here.
Yeah.
Really curious or interested in seeing as we progress and those students progress from those at our elementaries into the middle school, right? And what that maybe, I think you mentioned a new textbook adoption as
Right,
well. So
right.
I'm really curious to see that because the progression is over time. It's not instantaneous.
Right.
So I'm really
Good.
looking forward to like what's to come with that and the
Right.
recommendation as you meet with the teachers and our leadership groups at the middle school
Right.
to see like what those plans are and how to address that because
Right.
those scores aren't as positive, right? But there's also a plan that we need to look at, right? So I'm really looking forward to that presentation and that conversation that you have with all of our team.
Right. And I mean, I have to give the biggest shout out to our teachers because they're the ones that, I mean, the work that they're doing within their PLCs, which kind of oversees all of this, is very intense and it's great. I mean, it's great. It's awesome. It's all of those adjectives because teachers get together. We know that teacher collective efficacy is the one thing that is going to get the most movement of our students. And we are definitely seeing that. It takes time. And so we might not see that in 1 year, but we are going to be seeing that over time. And we're already seeing it in our math scores at the elementary level. So my hope as well is to continue to see that because of the work that they're doing day in and day out for our students.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just want to piggyback on something you say, remind me, I appreciate this. I singled out Holly and I want to say thank you for her good work. But again, Holly's working with the teachers are doing the teaching.
Yeah.
So kudos to the teachers.
Yeah.
Really making progress and that's the foundation moving forward. So
Yeah.
collective effort. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Turn that off.
All right. Next, we are going to go to section 7, reports and information. Under item 7.1 is board member reports. And since Nelson switched sides of the table here, I'm going to start on my left with Nelson.
I think Blake missed me over here, so. Um, just a few items. I had an opportunity to attend the Great Shakeout at Del Air Park, at Del Air Elementary School. I think about a week ago now, or 2 weeks ago. Last Thursday. Got to witness the command center and everybody at work. I mean, I was impressed with how well prepared all the teachers and how the students listened, that they were in the evacuation assembly. So well done. Kudos to that the entire school site. They were busy and we did not want to get in their way. Also that day, I had an opportunity to visit Weisberg Middle School with Lisa. Had a chance to walk around the site, meet some staff, and also visit the site also on some facility concerns that she had. But the sites looked Weisberg Middle School looked incredible. So kudos to the staff there on how well the site looked, and I got to see some of the improvements that were made over the summer. Just a lot of work that took place there. One of the highlights as we walked there, though, and I really wonder if it was set or staged, was there was this as we were walking through the site, there was this young man out on the playground, and Lisa said, "Oh, I have to bring you over, Blake. I have to introduce you to this young man because he's been wanting to meet you." So we go over there to the site to meet the young man, and right away the young man looks at Blake and goes, "Oh, I've seen you often around here." And I looked at Blake. I said, "You must have set that up, right?" So what was his name? I think Daryl. Was it Daryl or Daryl?
I know, it's terrible. I can't
It was.
Thank you for putting me on the spot.
Yeah. So so the point is, our superintendent is getting out to the site, and the young man confirmed it. But I also had an opportunity to visit Del Air, the baseball site. And that was looking good. I know it's under rehabilitation and there's improvements being made there. I think some corrections, if you will. But it was coming along and it looked up much better than the first time. So, I'm sure we'll hear more about that, but looking good. Other than that, I don't think I have any other comments tonight, Roger.
Okay, thank you, Nelson.
Thank you.
And go to Michelle.
Thank you. I had the opportunity to go to the monthly meeting for WEF, our Weisberg Education Foundation. Great meeting, happened to be the shortest meeting in history. And I want to take credit for that, but I can't. And but I just want, my old stomping ground, I love this group of people. There's definitely different faces there, but the passion and the drive are exactly the same. And what this small group of people do is absolutely amazing. So they wanted to highlight a few things. Their annual campaign is starting November 3rd. It's going to last for 3 weeks. And so, they just do such an amazing job raising money for the important program, for the important things in our district. So I would hope that we all support them with that. As well as their annual parent party that's coming up. Always a lot of fun, and they have a new venue this year, so I'm kind of excited. I had to say, what is that? It's over at 777 Aviation, which is an office building, but I guess so it should be pretty fun. That's gonna be November 15th, so tickets are on sale, and so I hope everyone would reward yourself with a fun night out. So again, just I want to shout out to this amazing group of people that worked tirelessly for this district. So
Thank you, Michelle. Next, we'll go to Neil.
Thank you. In our last meeting, Dr. Vicki Barber did a presentation on continuing to work together with DaVinci and Weisberg on our shared collective financing and such. And kudos to Ray Santiago, president of DaVinci Schools, for being at that meeting. Since that time, we have had a 3x3 meeting where 2 of our representatives and our superintendent and 2 of theirs and their CEO meet. And it was a very productive meeting. I thought it was very positive. Kudos to Matt for a recap on that. we're definitely making progress, and I feel like we're on the right road. So thank you for that. Also want to shout out to, since Rebecca's not here, I better take this mantle regarding the diversity, equity, and inclusion resolutions that we have. And I thought I'd take a little different tack in support of the idea of DEI. And so I came up with this list, and I just want to read this real quick. The Apple Mouse, the Palm PDA, does anybody remember the Palm PDA? Oral-B Kids toothbrush, Simply Safe security system, IKEA Future Kitchen, Airbnb's original design, Ford Sync is the design in those cars. I'm getting to a point where what do these have in common? Steelcase Leaf Chair, Bank of America Keep the Change program, and on and on and on. What do these have in common? They were all invented by a group called the IDEO Design Group, started by a gentleman by the name of David Kelly. And in fact, one of the things that I love to give him credit for that's true is if you ever go on an airplane, you see those don't smoke signs, they all look the same. IDEO invented that too. They designed that too. The point of this is David Kelly makes this statement, many statements. It says, to be successful in the world, you have to have a wide perspective. And diversity is the source of that perspective. If you want to do a better job, you need a bigger worldview. So seek a bigger worldview. Diversity and creative talent are the answer to success. If you want to create new ideas, get diverse people in the room. And he credits the number one reason for all of these inventions, in addition to human-based design, is just different people's perspectives from different backgrounds. And I think that's one of the things that makes our district so wonderful, our world so wonderful, and I want to celebrate that. And I think that's what these resolutions are doing. So perhaps a bizarre way to get there, but I'm glad for our resolutions and wanted to recognize that at my time.
Glad you summed it up, though.
Yeah. Like, where are you going, buddy?
Thank you, Neil. Thank you. Certainly appreciate Neil's unique perspective. To use a slightly different word, but thank you. I unfortunately was not able to attend our last board meeting, but I'd like to thank my colleagues here on the board for having that conversation about resolutions and diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think it is incredibly important to me, and I think to all of my colleagues here on the board, in terms of the richness that diversity, equity, and inclusion brings to our school district, and quite frankly, to life in general. I mean, we're all different and unique for a reason. I particularly enjoy having different conversations with folks that don't necessarily have my same view or I have theirs, and oftentimes I find myself changing my perspective on things because I like to approach things with an open mind. I will be the first person to tell you I do not know everything, but I do have some great friends, family, and colleagues that share their unique perspectives as well, or just slightly different. They may be the same, they may not be, but I do believe that diversity, equity, unique perspectives actually just make our lives richer every day. So I'm really looking forward to those action items to come on our board meeting agenda tonight. So I do have two other items to touch base with. I am currently serving for our board as our representative to LACSTA. That's the Los Angeles County Trustees Association. Last week, they did have an election to elect two members for two open seats to the Los Angeles County School District Committee on Reorganization. That committee is actually one that we went through for Weisbren through our unification. So it is actually a very important committee. The title is incredibly long, but it's a very important committee in terms of the decisions that they have to make. They really make life-changing decisions for the future of other school districts, and Weisbren is definitely included in that. Two members ran for the election. Mr. Ralph Metcher, he's going to represent the 3rd Supervisory District, and there's probably, 40 or 50 school districts within that district. And then Mrs. Stephanie Castaneda, she's going to represent the 2nd Supervisory District, and she's a current board member trustee just down the street at Centinela Valley Union High School District. So I'd like to wish both of them incredibly well and some success serving our community and our district in those positions. The last item I'd like to share for tonight is I'd like to thank our administration and our district financial team Sean and your team, I received this wonderful letter from LACO in terms of our finances. They've reviewed our school district's unaudited actuals for the fiscal year 24-25, and they have forwarded those to the California Department of Education. So everything seems to be in order, and we are doing well in terms of our finances. I really wanted to express that to you and to the entire team in the district, because one of our core responsibilities is financial stewardship and responsibility to make sure that we stay solvent and we're making good financial decisions. So we definitely owe that to your contributions and that of your team, Sean. So thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Yeah. All righty. That concludes my comments, and we'll move on to the rest of the agenda. Let's see here. We have Blake, item 7.2, I believe we will not be having our presentation from Ms. Summer Graves.
That's correct. We're gonna push that to I was gonna say the next meeting. I don't know. It'll be a meeting in the future.
Item 7.3, I think we just received the mathematics updates.
think-
Unless you have anything else to share?
Just a big excitement about the family math night.
Oh,
You know,
yes,
we
please.
We had our second one at Holly Glen, and just the overwhelming, we had over 200 families that showed up, and it was just
Oh
wonderful.
my goodness.
And a group of the teachers, I mean, Miss Zerble over here, one of our student volunteers walked away and she was running a table on her own. And so it was just great to see that involvement and getting excited about our last one at Del Air on the 29th. So we hope to see all our Eagles come out for the.
Fun to see the Instagram posts and the Da Vinci involvement.
yeah.
It's super cool.
It was, the students are awesome. And now that it's the same ones that are showing up, it's like, oh, we don't need to read the directions. There's pizza at this point and hanging out with the kids. I'm like, you guys all need to make babysitting cards. I'm like, all these parents were like, do these kids babysit? I'm like, I don't know. I can't play them. It's adorable.
Ecosystem. You can have.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Maggie.
Yeah.
Next, we were going to go to our superintendent, Dr. Blake Silvers, for his update.
Yeah, just a couple updates today. I'll keep it short, as short as I can keep it. Want to talk a little bit. I agree with Nelson. I really appreciate the great shakeout. Appreciate the work, appreciate the organization. But it does bring up some questions about, what are we actually preparing for? And obviously, there's earthquakes and so forth, but, there's other dynamic events that happen in the world that we've seen. And I know I brought this up to the board before and so certainly haven't solved it yet. But that's how do we talk about some of these more difficult threats that our kids face on a daily basis, violent intruders, violent events, things like that, that, I think more and more becoming part of the reality in schools and part of the and necessitate us having some response to that. And it's one thing to train teachers, it's another staff, it's another thing to have to actually bring this type of information, to older kids, and even more of a difficult scenario when you talk about bringing it to some of our youngest kids. I sit here to say I have no idea how we do that yet. And it's something that we need to resolve this year. So on that same note, one thing that came in transition, we actually, our ALICE certification has lapsed simply because we don't have two people that are trainers in ALICE. So we are going to send 2 or 3 people to Detroit, Michigan on December 18th and 19th. Yes, Detroit, Michigan on December 18th and 19th. Terrible timing, but it is what it is. And we're going to go do a recertification. That'll be myself, Sean and/or Ted Okasinski. So at least we have some in-house folks that can do that training again. But my eye is going to be more towards some recommendations around training students as well. How do we train some of our older students, but also how do we train some of our younger students? What are those tools that ALICE, the ALICE Institute, has and I guess would recommend as we move forward and be able to bring that back. So just sharing that now. I think this is a really, really big concern of mine, and I'd like to see us improve in this area.
They figured out the balance between empowering kids and not overwhelming them.
Well, I think that's part of it, right? Yeah, I don't know. I think these are all questions that we have to answer. Yeah. And I think it's an important question to answer because we've got to train, we've got to have the conversation in some way. And obviously the conversation looks real different when you're talking to a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, when you're talking to a 7-year-old, as opposed to when you're talking to a 15-year-old or 14-year-old. I mean, obviously, our kids are top out at 13 for the most part, 14. So anyway, you know, that's more of an information, more of throwing some, lobbing something into the middle of the dais here and not really having an answer to it, other than we'll bring something back in January. I'll give an update back to the board in January. I do plan to do some training with the staff this year, though. I think that, you know, it's one thing to watch a video. It's another thing to be able to engage in a training in person and also be able to ask questions and analyze together. So we'll look at that as we come back in the second semester. Wanted to share that. Also appreciate the data today, and I know I had a chance to review this presentation, and we've obviously reviewed the data as a team. And you know, data is, I say this, I have a tendency, and I know others do too, to take data personal. You know, you look at it and you just want to be better. You want to see scores better, but you know, data is a process, I think, more than a negative. And I just really encourage our team, encourage, you know, Maggie and all of us that we really look at it in that way and not look at it as a punitive thing. You know, I know in sports teams, and I'm just going to bring stuff back to sports. You look at statistics, you look at what happens, and you improve from it, right? That's the whole point. Is you look at it, say, I can be better next time, or I can do better next time, or we need to build this up to be better. And I just think that that's a great approach. So I just encourage us to do that. And that sort of ties into collective efficacy, and you brought that word up. I just think that's such a powerful word, you know, that we just need to really circle ourselves around this collective efficacy. It's something that Carol Basile shared with us, the Dean of ASU. It's really embedded within her teaming initiative as well. I'm not going to talk about the teaming initiative much again today, but just to say that I think that it's a really promising practice. Also want to, you know, share, you know, unfortunately on a really sad note, want to share the death of Michael Gengler, who was our Chartwell's Director of Food Service here in the district. I actually had the privilege of interviewing him and hiring him, basically, you know, me and Tom Johnstone, and gosh, a decade ago. And, you know, for somebody who's just really been dedicated to our kids, to food service, I mean, our kids rely, you know, probably one of the things kids are most excited about is running out to lunch. Maybe not eating the lunch as much, but the idea of lunch is such a happy moment for kids. And that's why they always run. No, it doesn't change. But, you know, I just want to say, you know, when we had events, Michael was there. He put a lot of heart and energy into the menus. I mean, being able to even discuss that with him as it related to the menus and what kids like to eat and how, you know, what, you know, that whole thing. There was just a lot of pride that was taken in that. So I'm not doing good justice to him, you know, with these comments, but I just want to say, you know, I obviously may rest in peace and thoughts and prayers to him and to his family, you know, during this very difficult time. And student's name is Dylan. Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's all I have. Yeah, my favorite student, Dylan. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
We are on section 8 of our agenda on public comment. Wendy, do we have any comments on items that are on our agenda from tonight from the public? Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move on to section 9, which is consent items. Is there a motion to approve item 9.1, which would approve all of our consent agenda for items 9.2 through 9.12?
I have one comment, if I can, Roger. Sorry, I'll wait for you.
Sure. Second. Nelson. Okay, we'll go to Blake.
Sure. I just wanted to highlight 9.2. I know you mentioned it. There were a couple board comments today about the resolutions, but I do want to just highlight the fact that those resolutions it's the same slate that we had approved back in last school year, which was the first time we had approved a slate. So the same thing, I think the conversation that we had last time, you know, we'll have to see how this evolves over time. Obviously, if it does evolve, we'd bring it back to the board with any additions, removals, hopefully not, but any types of things that we need to change to this document.
Kudos to Monique and her group. So I did have a question on why nothing in December and January, I think. I'm not looking at it, but I think it were 2 empty months.
I don't know the reason for that. Monique's not here. I could get, you know, if you want, I can send you an email back or something, but yeah, I don't have an answer to that.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to section 10, action items. Item 10.1. Actually, maybe we can take both of these together, 10.1 and 10.2. Is there a motion to approve or a motion for both of those?
Motion for 10.1 and 2.
You have a second.
Neil, thank you. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion carries 4-0. Section 11 is also action items, but related to facilities. We have 4 items on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve items 11.1 or 11.2? And we do not need a roll call vote on these resolutions, correct, Wendy? So we could probably just.
No, we don't.
We do not, right? Because it's all, okay.
So I can take them all, right?
We can take them all.
I'll motion for 11.1 through 11.4.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Any questions?
Just a quick comment, looking forward to, and what's the timing on updating the floor in aviation, the it's not the floor.
Oh, the time, you're talking about the stage, the drop
The
down.
stage, the
Yeah,
stage,
yeah. Noemi, what's the timeline on that? I'm sorry.
Just waiting for board approval to authorize it to proceed, and that way they can order the product. So it's about
Next week?
no, it's a 4-week time for that type of flooring,
4 weeks? That's not good.
for ordering.
To receive.
To receive, and then we'll schedule the work.
I'll make a phone call in 4 weeks, then what?
Our best bet is to try to sell over winter break.
Winter break.
There's no interruption.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes
Cool.
sense.
And just to clarify, so this is the stage that currently there that has the old logo on it. So it's just removing the Flexi Sport
The Omnisport.
floor, the Omnisport, sorry, yeah.
Replacing it With new Omnisport.
With the new
and
logo.
current
Yeah.
No competing logos anymore.
Before I call the question, I would like to say thank you as well to the NEZ team as well, because we do have on our agenda 11.3 and 11.4 are also notices of completion. So thank you very much. We do like those. When projects start, they do have an end. So I really appreciate all of your hard work at those projects as well. Thank you. I do have a motion in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries 4-0. Section 12 is action items related to fiscal. We have we have 2 items on here, and I'm going to do this one separate.
Yeah, Roger, just to say, 12.2, we're not gonna be taking action on. So the board could either not take, we're just gonna not take any action on it. That would be my recommendation.
So we're going to pull item 12.2.
Yeah, or just not act on it.
Yeah, that's both.
Okay, so we'll pull item 12.2.
You have a motion for 12.1.
12.1 is to ratify an agreement with Atkinson, Anderson, Loya, Root and Romo. Neil, is there a second?
Second.
Neil, any comments or questions?
I just think it's a smart move to get that generalist.
Thank you. And just I know I clarified this at the last, in the update, I believe it was that it's just a moving of funds. So it's not adding funds. It's just, we're going to be moving some funds out of, our DWK, budget and just rolling that over to Atkinson. So it's not, there's no net, addition in dollars. It's just a shift.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries 4-0. Let's see here, section 13. Blake, do we have a need for a second closed session?
Don't.
We do not. Great. Okay, then upcoming dates and events. Do we have an update on that, Blake? I don't have the dates here on my.
Yeah, we do. So we have
Staff Development Day on November 10th. And we have Veterans Day, November 11th. Next regular meeting is on the 20th, and we'll have the Del Air presentation. We'll have to see if we're gonna throw the aviation one in there as well. I guess I could ask the board, would you like to have 2 spotlights in one day, or would you like me to just spread it out more? I know you've kind of said you didn't like to. Yeah, I know. I know. It's just we run out of time is the problem. You know, you end up running again. But okay, we'll rearrange some things and bring it back as a separate item. And we do have Spooktacular tomorrow, 5 to 8:30, 8:30, 5 to 8, with a haunted house of horrors. And on Saturday, we're actually doing the same thing, Haunted House of Horrors. Is that what it's called? Why are you guys laughing? I get the name wrong, like the sing-a-ling. But we have another haunted. We do have another
He's trying,
one
he's
on
trying.
Saturday for the first time, 5:30 to 9:30, I believe. Which is different. So it's not inside the campus on Saturday. It's all gonna be exterior. Well, inside the multipurpose room where the haunted house is, but meaning there's no carnival. It's just the haunted house that second day. So excited about it. Let's go see it. Everybody wants to come out. We'll be there tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you.
Wait.
All right.
Neil, you have one item?
Just one
Sure.
thing I forgot to mention, that teachers, I know you have to take compliance things. We do too.
Oh,
The
yes.
ethics training, I think, am I the only
No,
one?
no.
Who else, anybody else submit it?
Neil's the only one that needed it.
Yeah, the only one I did. It's required. I will give-
We're all gonna take it.
We're very close
They're all
friends.
They're all required. They're all required. I kudos to DWK. This was not, you never look forward to these things, but it's actually did a pretty good job. And if you do it on 2 times speed, you can cover it in half the time. There you go.
For the record, we're all required to take that. So.
Yours is good.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Neil on the second?
Second.
Michelle, and before I call for a motion, I'd like to thank everyone for contributing and helping our students and community members with everything you do day in and day out. Thank you. Deep debt of gratitude to everyone that contributes to Wiseburn. Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries 4-0.